Physical man.
Oh, all right. Non-metaphysical man. Is that the name of the person? Non-metaphysical man.
No, his name is Jerry.
No, all right. Jerry the non-metaphysical man. Now, first of all, before we go on, you do understand that many people on your planet will be living the lives they need to live without necessarily knowing a stitch about the idea you call metaphysics.
Yes, he did.
All right.
He did that.
All right.
So presently, though, I'm working with twin flame energy on the inner planes.
Oh, all right.
And
is this fun for you?
Yes, we're accomplishing a world service work.
All right.
So
is this representative of your highest joy?
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, thank you.
So my question about that is, will I soon be in a new relationship, and will we...
is this the voice of expectation?
Yes.
Are you saying you don't trust your reality to take you where you need to go?
It looks a little...
A little what? Looks a little what? What picture are you putting on it?
Incredible.
Meaning what? What is incredible? What are you defining as incredible? Can you be specific?
What am I defining? The work...
What are you defining as incredible?
Beyond words.
But the idea, you are asking a question, will I do this? Will this happen? And I asked you back, are you not trusting that your reality will take you where you need to be? What was the answer to that question?
I do try. It's difficult.
You try?
Yes.
What's difficult? What is the difficulty you are experiencing?
To trust the direction that this appears to be taking me.
Why is that difficult? Why is it easier for you to trust in another direction?
Because I feel unworthy.
You feel unworthy. All right. Thank you for your honesty. That's all right. Now, why do you feel unworthy? What are your reasons for feeling unworthy? You must have them, or you wouldn't feel unworthy.
This is big.
Well, does it fit in the room you are in? Did you get it through the door?
Not yet. It hasn't happened yet.
All right, this is big. Are you implying that this is a lot to handle? Is that what you mean by this is big?
Yes.
All right. Well, you can start simply. I'm not necessarily assuming that you will give me every single aspect of it in 25 words or less, as you say. But you can start with something. Why is it that you feel unworthy? What one reason can you give me that allows you to feel unworthy?
I'm carrying a spiritual child.
You are carrying a spiritual child?
Yes.
What does that have to do with feeling unworthy?
It's the child that makes me feel unworthy.
No, that is impossible. Well, only you can make yourself feel unworthy.
That's right.
So, be more specific.
The energy of this child is much higher than mine.
So
my question is, do I have the ability to bring this into physical reality?
Well, let me ask you this question. May I?
Yes.
Do you believe that creation creates pointless creations? Or do you believe that everything fits? I'll ask you another way. Let us use an analogy. Let us say that you have what you call on your planet a fine china vase or cup in your hand. Can you picture this?
Okay.
Have you got it? Is it a vase or a cup?
A cup.
A cup, all right. Now, drop the cup in your imagination and see it shatter on the floor. Have you seen this? You see it shatter into pieces on the floor?
Yes.
All right. Now, here is my question. If you were to pick those pieces up and assemble them, would they assemble back into a cup? This is not a trick question. Would they assemble back into a cup?
By what substance?
Would they assemble back into a cup?
Yes.
Yes, of course, because you dropped a cup and it broke into pieces. And the pieces on the floor are the pieces of a cup. So the idea is that you understand when you see the pieces on the floor that every single piece there has a place where it fits to go back into the concept of becoming a whole cup. There are no extraneous pieces. You're not going to find extra pieces, are you?
No.
Are you?
If I gathered them all, no.
And if you gathered them all, you're not going to be missing any.
Right.
You follow? And let's, for the sake of this illustration, simply say that the pieces didn't go that far. You can see every single one of them so that you know you're going to have exactly just the right amount of pieces and that when you assemble them, they are going to be a cup. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
Therefore, you must understand that every single thing in creation is such a piece of the whole. There are no extraneous pieces and there are no pieces missing. Everything fits into one big puzzle picture. You follow? Everyone is a piece, a puzzle piece of one big puzzle picture. You follow?
Yes.
And therefore, when everyone is simply who they need to be, when everyone is the shape they were created to be, when everyone is the piece of the puzzle that they were created to be, then they fit where they belong and they add their piece to the whole picture and support the whole. And there's no leftover pieces and there's no pieces missing. You follow me?
Yes.
So, if you are the one with whom the child made the agreement, doesn't that automatically, by definition, mean you must belong together? Or the child would have made an agreement with someone else?
Yes.
Well, are you getting the point?
Yes.
Then you must be equal, or it couldn't exist. And it is only your assumption that you are not equal that makes you experience the inequality. It's only your definition that you are not equal that allows you to experience inequality as a tangible reality. But it doesn't mean it's empirically true, because if it were empirically true, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Because you wouldn't have this to talk about, because it wouldn't exist in your reality, because there are no pointless creations, and there are no pieces that are not where they don't belong. Do you follow that? Mm-hmm. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Is this helping to illuminate and lighten up the whole picture for you?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Energetically and
all right.
in
That's
all
where it
ways.
begins. Let it sink in. It will permeate every aspect of your being. It will permeate every other area wherein you might still insist that you are not worthy. But if you really, 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 and this goes for all of you, if you really, really, really were not worthy in the way most of you think, you wouldn't exist at all. In a sense, if I may put this somewhat colloquially and somewhat poetically, there is a very, very large paradox at work. When people on your planet think that they are unworthy, it's actually one of the most arrogant things you can say. One of the most egotistical things you can say. Because what you're saying is that, yes, everything in the universe fits perfectly except me. I stand out as the only unworthy aspect of all of creation. Look at me. You see the paradox in saying you are unworthy? Because truly, if you really were unworthy, you wouldn't be in existence at all, because creation would not have created something that didn't belong. And by really saying you're unworthy and really allowing yourself to believe that you are unworthy, what you're telling the Creator is that the gift of existence is worthless. The gift you have given is worthless. I throw it back in your face. Now, the Creator loves you unconditionally, so the Creator doesn't mind. Because the Creator loves you all so unconditionally that the Creator allows you to even believe you are not worthy. That's how loved and worthy you are. Because you have total freedom to believe whatever you want. That's how loved and supported you are. And if you want to believe you're unworthy, creation says, okay, I love you none the less. And I will allow you to believe what you choose to believe, but the proof is that you exist. And if you stop and take a moment to really think about it, you will realize that your very existence means you must be worthy, because creation would not have created you were you not. Because you are an aspect of the infinite. Remember the second law? You are an aspect of the one, and you are the one, pretending, in a sense, to be a part of the one. So if you're saying, I'm unworthy, you're saying it's all worthless.
I have I have said that.
Yes, I know, and that's all right. Again, it is a valid perspective, but the idea is that you do not necessarily have to think that it's actually an empirical truth as if it were a law of creation. I already told you what the 4 laws were. You didn't hear me say the 5th law is that you are unworthy. So it's not a law, it is only a point of view. You're using the 4 laws to create a point of view and a belief that you're unworthy, but it's not an empirical absolute truth. It's only an experience. And you can change it because it's an experience. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm here to ask you, I think you've answered most of my other questions.
All right.
I appreciate the repetition. We learn slowly here.
Not really.
Well, it seems like it.
No, not really. You see, all of you know exactly what you're doing. I'm just reminding you of what you're doing. None of you learn slowly at all. You are all absolute masters at creating the realities you create. We're just reminding you that the idea is not that you are not creating perfection. It's just that some of you are choosing to create perfect misery. You understand?
Yes, I do.
But that doesn't mean you are not in control of creating your reality, and you all know this. So anyway, you're not slow learners. Don't judge yourself. Please, on our account, go ahead.
So if you have a mess around you,
A mess, yes?
would you say that the advice to get through it and go beyond would be the moment-to-moment living
In some
moment?
senses. But the idea, of course, is personal value, personal integrity, personal responsibility for the consequences of your own actions, allowing clear communication to all components involved in all relationships you have co-created, so that you are being responsible for your parts in all the relationships that might have led to what you are defining as messes, but also learning from them as lessons, so that you can then make clear statements within yourself that you are learning from them and have learned that this is not necessarily the direction of your preference, and in choosing a new direction, then you will be using them as stepping stones, and you will be incorporating and integrating these experiences into you and becoming more holistic, in a nutshell. Do you understand?
Sort of.
Well, can you be more specific about what you are defining as a mess?
Yes. Okay. I guess my blockage or battle right now has been with linear time. It seems,
Battling linear time.
Yes, and it seems like
My, how dramatic.
well, it
Why
is
are you
dramatic.
battling linear time, and in
Well,
what way?
It just feels like there's
What does that mean?
battling linear time.
Yes, what does that mean?
Well, having many more things to do and get done than feels like there's time to do.
Sometimes, not always, but more often than not, that is usually a symptom of doing more than you have to do. It is usually a symptom of not really allowing the thing that excites you the most to be the first thing you do. Because the thing that excites you the most, pay attention, is A, the organizing principle, and B, the driving engine that determines, C, what other things need to be done. When you act on the thing that excites you the most to the best of your ability first, your day will automatically organize itself in order of all the things that excite you that you have the ability to do. Whatever it is, in a sense, you don't have time to do when you're done with that day, didn't need doing.
I understand that.
Because when you operate that way, all the things that are truly important for you to function holistically, and all the circumstances that really need to appear in your life to allow you to do what you really need to get done, will fill and fit perfectly in any given moment or day or time span, and will allow you to experience this in a very effortless and creative, poetic, and synchronistic way, rather than feeling you have to scramble to do things that may only be, in a sense, things that your personality structure has been taught it needs to do as an offshoot of who you think you are. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. I appreciate it.
Now remember, we're not talking about giving up responsibility, but the idea is to claim your relationship to what you're doing and redefine it in a way that simultaneously allows you to choose a new direction and make changes, and simultaneously allows you to communicate to everyone else who might be connected or involved that you are doing so everyone has a chance in their own way to adjust. I'm not saying you have to be responsible for other people's reactions or responses beyond a certain point, but the idea is to simply be a clear communicator that you yourself are changing and that your awareness can then present to them the changes that are going on within you so that they can then determine how it is they can then relate to you or not relate to you from that point forward. And that will also help organize the things and relationships and interactions you really do need to have and really don't need to have.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you. I wish to add one more thing. All of you can absorb this in your own way, but it keys into the last thing that we were just discussing. Regarding the idea of linear time, I understand, and I'm not taking away from it because it is a valid experience, but the idea is that what you all call one moment after another, these are all actually the same one moment. Because there is only one moment in creation. There is only here, there is only now. What you experience as a succession of different moments are all the same one moment from different points of view and different experiences of the same one moment. But the only way you have to experience all of those different points of view of the same moment in linear time is to experience them as if it is one discrete moment after another. But it's all the same moment. Let that sink in whatever way it benefits you. Yes. Good day.
Good day, Bashar.
Speak up and be bold.
May I ask you, could you touch on and help with the fears, like with claustrophobia and these different
Touch
fears?
on the fears, such as claustrophobia and so forth. Now, many of you already understand, of course, that these things are sometimes imprinted upon many of your psyches through certain experiences that some of you may have either in childhood or in what you might call an impressionable moment. But nevertheless, it still all comes down to the idea that it is really an imprintation in the definitional belief system. All fears are a reaction to something you believe to be true. You don't have a feeling about anything if you don't first have a definition or a belief about that thing or that circumstance or that situation. So all fears, no matter how it exhibits itself, first of all, understand it is a reaction to a definition you have bought into. That is the impression that you bought into. It was a belief system or a definition that allows you to experience your reality in this particular emotional way. Now, sometimes, yes, the specific type of fear, such as what you call claustrophobia, can be symbolic of what the definition itself is. And therefore, the type of fear can actually help you get in touch with what the definition might be. For example, again, claustrophobia may be related to the idea of a definition that says that you cannot expand, that you are structured and held fast by limitation itself, that you are, in that sense, suffocating by the limiting beliefs that you have been spoon-fed or forced to buy into unknowingly. And the claustrophobia may be your psyche's way of letting you know you have these beliefs, so that the fear will become so great it will force you to waken to the fact consciously that you have these beliefs unconsciously, so you will find them, change them, and then in so doing transform the fear into joy. Do you follow?
Oh, yes, that's
Fear,
it. That's it.
that's what fear is for. It is there to tell you you have a belief that is out of alignment with who and what you truly are. We have often used the analogy of a piano, the instrument on your planet, to demonstrate this idea. If you're sitting down at a piano and you are playing a song, and all of a sudden you hit a sour key, a flat note, you do not usually run away from the piano screaming in terror and swear you will never play again. Usually you say, this is out of tune. I must tune that particular key. And this is what fear is. It is like a sour key, a flat key, an out-of-tune key. It must be tuned. What must be tuned? The definition must be tuned. You must find out what the definition is that allows you to experience the flat key, change the definition, which is the process of fine-tuning, and then bring it back into harmony with the rest of your keys. That's really all it is. And the specific type of fear can be, as we have said, a big clue as to what the definition is you may have bought into. So use your fear to serve you. And the more you understand that that's what fear can be used to do, the more excited and curious you will become about fear when you experience it, and the more quickly you will transform the fear into curiosity, imagination, and inspiration. We're not saying bury your fear. No, you ought to feel it. Invite it. Invite it to be as powerful as it possibly can be. Because when you are dealing with that magnitude of fear, you are dealing with core issues that when you use the fear that is connected to the core issue in this creative way will allow you to transform in very fast, very, 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 very powerful ways. We call this the rubber band principle. And that simply means is that like a rubber band on your planet, the further back into the dark side you pull the rubber band, then once you do let go, the faster and farther it will snap into the light. So sometimes when you're feeling like you're dealing with great negative energies, that's a sign that you are ready to snap and transform it into great positive energies if you simply use it in that way. Feeling overwhelming negative energies is actually paradoxically a sign of your power to use the light. But because most of you have been taught the definition that feeling all that negativity means you're stuck in it, instead of being given the definition that feeling all that negativity means you're ready to bolt into the light, you often simply feel yourself stuck in the dark. But it's only because of the definition and the approach you use to it instead of realizing that you can use it in a positive way to propel yourself onto the other side. Make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Do you feel a little bit lighter?
Yes.
All right. Does that serve you then?
Yes, that helps. And may I ask about what your opinion on mercury toxicity in the teeth is? And
our understanding of heavy metal toxicity is that, and in particular the idea of mercury, is that it is generally responsible for anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50% of reduction in bodily energy.
And may I ask what we can do about it when you can't get them redone, and about growing new teeth, please?
It is not impossible for you to grow new teeth, but we would always suggest that you take the path of least resistance and simply replace them. And understand that your reality can allow you to do this. It's not impossible to grow new ones, but most of you will find that your belief systems have a tough enough time dealing with what you consider to be relatively mundane ideas, rather than doing something that most of you, not all of you, most of you consider to be really hard. But the idea is that you must honor what beliefs you actually have. Follow the path of least resistance. For most of you, the path of least resistance in your beliefs would simply be to know that you can synchronistically attract into your life an individual who would be able to help you replace them. Easily, effortlessly, painlessly, quickly. You follow me?
Yes, and may I ask what type of substance? I've talked to a woman scientist that feels that some of this that they do use and the glue that they use isn't good either.
Again, most of you already know that when you introduce into your natural body substances that are, in your terms, relatively artificial and unnatural, do you not understand, of course, that more often than not there will usually be a detrimental effect? This is not mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
It's no more mysterious than that. So this is all about allowing yourself to get back as close as possible to your natural self. That's what it's about. because many of these things that you have created in your atmosphere and in your environment are, in that sense, weighing you down and are not allowing you to avail yourself of many of these energy tools as strongly as you could. Now, yes, again, belief system can go a long way toward helping transform some of these things, but sometimes many of you try to force yourself to be more spiritual. I should be able to handle this energetically. But when, in all honesty, you actually understand that sometimes it really is representative of a more spiritual honesty by simply following the belief of least resistance and simply allowing yourself to follow a path that may seem relatively mundane or typical, but nevertheless is actually the easiest way to get the job done. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that help you then?
In the meantime, is there...
There is no in the meantime. Go and do what you can do as quickly as you can. Period. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.